Welcome back to EtherLink AI Insights. I'm Alex, and today we're diving into something that's really reshaping how enterprises operate, especially in Europe. We're talking about AI agents and multi-agent orchestration, and how Amsterdam has become this fascinating epicenter for that innovation. Sam, when you hear multi-agent orchestration, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Great question. Most people still think of AI as these single chatbots sitting in isolation. You ask a question, it gives you an answer. But multi-agent orchestration is completely different. We're talking about systems where multiple autonomous AI agents work together, coordinate with each other, and execute complex workflows without constantly asking a human for permission. It's a fundamental shift in how enterprises can automate at scale.
That's a really helpful distinction. So it's not just about having AI tools, it's about having them work together, strategically. And the fact that Amsterdam is becoming a hub for this? That tells us something important about where European business is heading, especially with the EU AI Act in the mix.
Exactly. Amsterdam's advantage isn't accidental. The city has both the regulatory clarity from EU AI Act compliance requirements and the technical talent to build systems that meet those standards. What's interesting is that the data backs this up. McKinsey's research shows 74% of businesses are now prioritizing AI spending specifically on systems that can orchestrate multiple agents across departments. That's not a niche use case anymore. That's mainstream enterprise strategy.
So we're seeing this shift from single-tool approaches to orchestrated systems. Can you walk us through what actually makes agentic AI different from traditional automation or even chatbots? Because I think there's some confusion there.
Sure. Traditional chatbots are reactive. You initiate, they respond based on patterns or stored information. Agentic AI flips that on its head. These systems are proactive, goal-oriented, and they make autonomous decisions within parameters you set up. They can execute multi-step workflows without human intervention, reprioritize tasks based on real-time business rules, and adapt their strategies based on what actually happens. They're not just responding, they're thinking and acting.
That sounds powerful, but also potentially risky if they're making autonomous decisions. How do companies ensure they're not losing control?
That's where the control plane comes in. And this is critical architecture. Think of it as the nervous system of the entire agent network. It manages agent life cycles, coordinates interactions, and ensures everything stays compliant with business rules and regulations. Without proper orchestration, agents start competing with each other instead of cooperating. Forrester Research actually quoted this perfectly. The difference between a successful multi-agent deployment and a chaotic one is the sophistication of the control plane.
Okay, so the control plane is doing the heavy lifting on governance and coordination. What are the actual components that make up an enterprise control plane?
You've got several key pieces. First is agent registry and lifecycle management, centralized tracking of what each agent can do, which version it's running, and whether it's operational. Second is workflow orchestration, which defines the sequence agents need to follow to complete complex tasks. Third is resource allocation, deciding which agents get compute power based on priority. Then you need conflict resolution for when agents disagree on what to do next. And finally, compliance and auditability, so you have a complete record of every decision for regulators.
That last piece is crucial, especially in Europe. You can't have your agents making decisions you can't explain to a regulator. Speaking of which, multimodal AI came up in the research. What role does that play in making these agents actually intelligent?
This is where it gets really interesting. Multimodal AI means the system can process language, images, documents, and structured data all at once. So instead of agents that just read text, you get digital collaborators that can actually understand complex, real-world situations. In Amsterdam's port operations, that means an agent can look at a shipping manifest, examine container images, check GPS coordinates, and independently identify discrepancies and execute fixes, all without a human in the loop.
That's a concrete example that really drives home the impact. And I imagine that's where the efficiency gains come from. You mentioned earlier that companies are seeing 35 to 40% improvements in process efficiency. Is that coming from the speed of autonomous execution?
Partially, yes, but it's more nuanced. Gartner's data shows organizations get 35 to 40% efficiency improvements and 28% cost reductions within 18 months of deploying agentic AI. That's coming from several things: elimination of manual handoffs between departments, agents working 24/7 without fatigue, and smarter resource allocation. But also, and this is important, fewer errors, because you're removing human judgment failures and using consistent agent logic.
That makes sense. So Amsterdam's financial services and logistics sectors are leading this adoption. Why those industries specifically?
Because they have the highest ROI for multi-agent orchestration. Financial services deal with massive transaction volumes, compliance complexity, and real-time decision requirements. Logistics deals with coordinating across suppliers, carriers, customs, and inventory systems, naturally distributed and complex. Both industries can directly measure cost savings, and both have regulatory pressure that makes auditability a feature, not a bug. That's why they're pioneering these frameworks.
And I'd guess that designing these systems requires specialized knowledge. You mentioned AI lead architecture frameworks. What does that actually entail for an organization trying to implement this?
It's about more than just buying a tool. You need expertise in multimodal pipeline orchestration, control plane design, agent coordination logic, compliance mapping, and integration with legacy systems. It's architectural work. EtherLink's EtherMind consultancy specifically focuses on this, helping enterprises design systems that are technically sound but also EU AI Act compliant. That's a specialized intersection of skills.
So for a business listening right now that's considering this shift, what should they actually do as a first step?
Start by mapping your workflows and identifying where you have the most repetitive, multi-step processes that require coordination across teams or systems. That's your opportunity for agent orchestration. Then assess your compliance requirements, especially if you're in Europe or regulated industries. Finally, bring in architects who understand both the technical requirements and the regulatory landscape. Don't just buy agents and hope they work together. Design the control plane first.
That's really practical advice. So the takeaway here is that agentic AI isn't just a technology shift. It's an architectural and organizational shift. You need the right design, the right governance, and the right expertise to make it work at enterprise scale.
Absolutely. And what's happening in Amsterdam right now is a template for how European enterprises can do this responsibly. They're proving that you can build autonomous, intelligent agent systems that are also compliant with strict regulations. That's not a limitation. It's a competitive advantage.
Great insights, Sam. If you want to dive deeper into this, including the technical architecture, real-world case studies, and specific frameworks for implementation, head over to etherlink AI and find the full article. AI Agents and Multi-Agent Orchestration, Amsterdam's Enterprise AI Evolution. Thanks for listening to EtherLink AI Insights. We'll see you next time.